Board of Trustees, regular meeting, Thursday, September 17th, 2015. Trustee Avina. Trustee Lucia.
Here.
Trustee Gately.
Here.
Trustee Van Washlav.
Here.
Mayor Junta.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Take a moment to review the minutes, please.
Let me just say that we had
If you
canceled
just
on
said
the agenda.
something I didn't
when we see
understand.
that Flushing Bank was going to present this evening, Mayor, and we decided to hold that off until we have a work session so there could be more questions.
That was resolution 2.
Leslie, I have a question on minutes. Did
Okay?
you see my email earlier today?
I did.
Okay. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, just to clarify, you had asked to change the minutes or intersperse that with the court reporter's transcript. There was something like 37 pages, and I did put that, outline it in blue, 37 pages back and forth. So the transcript by the court reporter will be available. The clerk's minutes are the same thing, but it's just a snippet, it's just
Okay,
a short
I
portion.
would not want somebody to read just the clerk's minutes and not have the full story. So I think the clerk's
Well,
minutes should just reference that the full dialogue was captured in the court reporter's minutes. And it should be that simple.
Oh, you don't want that detail?
Yeah, because I think if you read the detail and you don't get the whole picture, meanwhile, if you need the court reporter's detailed notes, you can catch ideas every.
I will reference, add to the minutes referencing the court reporter's transcript. The transcript is this, and the minutes are like 5 pages, so it will reference.
I'd like to object to the submission of the minutes. I'd rather see the entire transcript, because I think there's a lot of interpretation in those minutes. And there are things that are left out, and there are things that were important that were certainly left out.
Well,
So
the
this,
minutes,
to me,
though,
is an editorial by the village clerk as to what happened. It's not a statement of fact. I object to the fact that these minutes will be approved. I don't think we should approve them until everybody gets a chance to read the transcript.
Lizzie, can you hit next?
Well, when we call the board, you vote whichever way you like. So we're going to leave the minutes as is with the reference.
I'll have the minutes plus the transcript. I don't think, clerk's minutes are the clerk's
Right, and I
minutes.
don't think that's right.
And there was no editorial in the clerk's minutes, and so we have
Well,
the,
clearly there's a disagreement on that point,
well, the
which is
minutes.
the reason for the so.
Yeah, I don't think we should approve the minutes until
Well, when we
the
call the
board
board-
gets a copy of the transcript.
We're going to, I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes. So Madam Clerk, please call the board.
I need a second, please.
I'll make the second. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Avina,
Nay?
Trustee Lucia,
Abstain.
Trustee Gately,
Nay.
Trustee Van Washlaw,
No.
Mayor Junta.
Aye. Moving on to the department reports, Madam Clerk, please brief the board.
Can I interrupt 1 second? I think the report that we're about to hear, if any of the board members like to question an individual report, I think they should say that. Because we do have a lot of work to cover. And I think the reports that are given verbally just take too long. So if any of the board members would like further discussion on any one of the reports, I think that's I'm making a motion that we waive the reading.
There's no reason why you're flashing a flashlight in my face. Thanks.
Well,
I'm going to proceed
I'm making a motion
Well,
not
you
to
can deny.
I second it.
Mr. Leventhal,
It's an improper motion.
excuse me.
The mayor runs the meeting.
I'm running the meeting,
I'm
and
not.
I'm
The
going to
agenda
go
is on the
over,
agenda.
and I would like to hear the department reports. Are you going to obstruct another meeting again this evening?
Please brief the board. The first report is the clerk's report. I wanted to first thank Shadan Marashi for running a wonderful 9/11 ceremony. I wanted to report to the board that as of this date, we have $49,395 outstanding in taxes. I think that's an important thing for the board to know. We have just begun our records management project. We have installed Laserfiche. We have approximately 80 cubic feet of records in our office, and we may at some point need some outside assistance in scanning in our records. We need to very soon approve our plans for our office space grant that we got from our state senator. So I will be speaking individually with each of you about what our plans will entail. We had approved the vault shelves for space-saving shelves, and they are now being constructed. I wanted to ask the board to continue to please look for road paving grants, because especially Cambridge, but many of the roads in the village need to be repaved. I know Trustee Gately last year when he was first appointed.
Right, I made him a liaison.
Was the liaison for that, so.
I haven't heard back from him.
But we just need to be aware that there are many roads in the village that do need to be repaved. Please know, and it's important for all of the people in the audience as well, that we have a street fair scheduled for October 3rd from 11 to 5, and Sharon has been working very hard on that, the deputy clerk, and we have some really fun things planned, so please mark your calendars for that.
So Leslie, I have
Sure.
two points. One, when you say we need assistance with the scanning, what kind of assistance are you talking about?
Well,
Are we
with
gonna hire
80
somebody, or are we going to, is this going to be, if we just need people to come down here and help scan?
Well, we don't have a resolution. No, this is something that would be done by professionals, Kevin, and generally, it's about 1 cubic feet per hour that can be scanned in. So we need a professional company, trained individuals, and I'm going to try to find a company that does that can organize it, scan them into Laserfiche, which is a special way to do it. It's a special way to take a snapshot. It makes a TIFF image, more information than people need to know, but it's going to be approximately.
We already hired someone, didn't we speak to someone, you and I?
We did, but we never did the resolution, you're right, trustee, so we're going to, you happen to be here the day that we were interviewing the people that
I thought we had
that
to
for
hire
us.
us.
No, we didn't get to that yet. We didn't get to that yet, but you happen to be here and were part of that interview process, but that was absolutely correct.
Okay, and Leslie, my second point
Yeah.
is, though, yes, we were looking at, I was appointed last July to the grants, but they haven't closed for the year, the 2016 grant period just started up in December.
Okay, so just, making everybody aware, and, we could use all hands on deck for that, because this really is.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on very quickly. We didn't get a chance to thank Ken Kraft for the Classic Car Show, which was back in August, so I did want to mention that on the record. Our plans examiner, part-time John Amasano, is out of town this week, so we won't get to do any plans reviews until next week. Wanted to let you know I was recently sworn in as a Nassau-Suffolk County Director with Nassau County for the Long Island Village Clerks and Treasurers Association. And I will be reporting from time to time on the activities of the association. And I would like to ask Deputy Clerk Sharon to give a short report on the update which the board had asked for on Morgan's.
I think everybody has in your packet a detailed summary of what's been going on with the dock. I know there's been so many questions. I tried to bullet the 3 big questions that everybody's been asking about. So if you take a few minutes, read through the report, I'm more than happy to answer other questions later. But just a little history. This project started.
Anything she says.
Oh, sorry. The project started really back in 2006, and you'll read about the grants and how they transpired. And where we are now, we have D.F. Stone as our construction company, and Cash and Associates as our engineers. And currently, we're in phase 1 of the project, which is the stone armor portion of the project. Dredging, building the stone armor. And we're almost to the end of that phase right now. And they're working on a few items still with structural items with the engineers. And the other thing that I just wanted to say is the next portion of the project will be the floating dock, which is called, what we call phase 2 of the project. We've been awarded $300,000 for that portion and to finish up the last portion. So you'll read about that in here. And there's also a list of our expenditures that we have, just to kind of get you up to date on what's been going on financially with the project. And I hope this answers a lot of questions that people have had. But thank you very much.
Sharon, I did have one little question.
Sure.
It says, D.F. Stone, that, let's see, during Passion's last inspection, they informed D.F. Stone that a structural correction is still needed to be made to be in compliance with the stone requirements.
Yes.
And this correction is currently being addressed by both parties.
Yes.
What was the correction?
What that means is that the engineers went in and they were not satisfied with some of the placement of the capstones, which are the really huge granite stones that go on the tops all around the wall. And they want them to fix that to
Okay.
make sure that it's correct. So that's what they're working on.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
And that's,
So, thank you very much. I'm going to make a motion to approve the department reports. Give me a second, please.
I'll second.
Trustee Avina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Marshall?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. And move on to the abstract plans. Any questions from the board members?
Can you read that? Can't even read it.
The only question I had was
I'm sorry.
Vision Long Island.
Yes.
I know we approved them, but where do we stand from the first meeting that we had? And so we're giving another 10, we're giving, I think this is our first 10,000 we're giving, isn't it?
5,000 and then 10,000.
Right.
That's the total amount.
So-
Trustee Van Marshall might be able to answer that because she took a tour of the village with Vision Long Island a few weeks ago.
So I spent a morning with Vision, and we went to every commercial establishment on Manorhaven Boulevard and asked them what they liked and didn't like about Manorhaven Boulevard and Manorhaven, and trying to get input. And I haven't heard from them since, but everybody was very genial. They had a lot of interesting comments, one of which that I remember is that we don't have enough garbage pails out there and that people are filling them up. And let's see what else. Basically, they are complaining about the look of Manorhaven Boulevard. And I think we all agree it could look a lot better. And so I hope that this is what we'll start trying to give our attention to. Get some of these businesses, these vacant buildings rented, the way to rent them, find out what kind of people need to be in there, and trying to make it look beautiful.
Wait, so you walk Manorhaven Boulevard for $10,000?
That's it,
No, that's it.
that's it, as far as I know.
No, it's not, that's part of their research. That was part of
Well, we
their
haven't-
research.
we haven't had
Planning on
anything.
coming back again.
I know, but we don't have anything, so why are we paying them?
Right.
We don't have
We
anything
are going to
in
give
hand.
them again in the work session, so we'll have to hear.
When are they gonna make a recommendation as to what we should do? We spent 3 hours here, and we had 35 different things put on the board. So when will it come back and say, these are the 5 top things that you be working on, and this is the plan you should follow?
The work session. So any other questions?
Just, let me just tell Jim what happened. They did come back at one point, and they did give us a list actually a recap of that meeting.
I think it was sent out during election time. I
Yes.
think everybody got that.
Yes,
Right.
so they did do a recap, I'm just.
It was actually in the newsletter.
Well, I was looking
Oh, is that what it
for a
was?
recommendation from them.
Right, that was what I was looking forward to also, that's why I really don't think we should be paying them this $10,000 until we have something in our hands.
We can work session with that. All of us.
Good idea.
Hard to see.
What date do
I'll
you?
see.
The one when I put that little arrow.
We can't hear you, Kevin.
Oh, I said there were two payments on 8/12, the very tax for the same amount,
This
confirming
was,
they're not a duplicate payment.
I will go back and look. I don't think they were the same payment, they were two different invoices, but this was not this. I know that was the recap of the accountant, but that's not this month's abstract. Okay, do that, and then I will go back and check that amount.
I would also object to the payment for Mr. Tone being the village attorney. Because at the last meeting, the board approved a renewal and replacement of Steve Leventhal. So why would we pay the month of September to Mr. Leventhal?
I just want to respond. It's okay to approve it. I intend to take this matter to court this week, and if the court determines that what you did was lawful, it's okay. You don't have to pay it. But in the alternative, if the court determines that you did was unlawful, then I don't think Mr. Leventhal should get paid for the same job that I'm doing. I'm willing to be a gentleman. I'm willing to handle this in court. I'm not going to answer any questions regarding this tonight, but I believe my termination and hiring of Mr. Leventhal was not legally sound. I know Mr. Leventhal has respected another opinion, but we're going to let the courts determine it. I'm going to do this like a judge.
I disagree with you.
No, I agree with you, Mr. Tony, he is here, and let the courts decide who's the right one, because I don't know. I don't know who it is, so let the court decide.
The abstract only contains Mr. Tony, not me.
Okay, and so we're gonna pay two attorneys for it?
I'm not suggesting that. I think the suggestion was don't pay Mr. Tony.
Oh, don't pay either one. you're
No,
saying.
but I just want to
But
say.
he is under, as far as I'm concerned, he's under contract, and he has a monthly retainer. So he,
Yeah.
by,
He's entitled to the money.
If that's your position.
I just want to.
Mr. Tone was
right, I'm
trying
just
to...
trying to do what's right.
Please stop going on. Constantly interrupting. Finish up this.
Jim, I totally get where you're coming from, but we have to do what's right. Mr. Tone is under contract, he's here tonight. I mean, if you didn't show up tonight, that'd be another thing. No, I don't care about that resolution, let them fight it out in court and come back and tell me, let the judge come back and say, this is your attorney, he did it right, he did it wrong, whatever. Let the court tell me, because I don't know what's right or what's wrong, whatever transpired last month. And so I'm not gonna deal with it. So right now, Mr. Toner is here, he's under contract, he should get the money for tonight, he is here, and he's been, hopefully, working diligently this month. And then, let them go to court tomorrow, whatever date you said it was.
Maybe this week, no, not tomorrow.
Okay, this week.
This coming week.
And then let the judge decide who's right and who's wrong, because I certainly don't know.
But I just want to let the board know that today we received an invoice from Mr. Leventhal's firm for $8,877 that he's billing the village for. So I just want to put that on the record.
Rita, have you seen this contract?
For what?
Did you say he has a contract?
And it's not even itemized.
Whether or not it's a contract, I remember voting on hiring Mr. Toner.
And so
So
did
it's
you.
my
So-
name on there. If you pull those minutes, it is my name on there as well as other people on the board saying that we hired him for a 1-2-year term.
That's right.
That's how it is worded. And it was pulled out, and I believe that somebody from the audience actually handed it to me, gave me a copy of the minutes, and I voted on it. So I have to stick to my guns.
So I make a motion to approve the
I have not,
abstract.
I just have not seen it.
Approve based
They gotta
on-
speak louder.
I'll make a motion to approve Mr. Turner's
not to include Vision Long Island Race?
We're gonna leave that out, so.
Take a vote on that?
Can we ask the question, or I'll ask the weekend question you asked?
Are we voting on that?
Yes, I just made a motion, I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Trustee Avina?
Nay.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye. We have to pay the bills.
We're paying the bills, I thought it was just Mr. Tony's.
Mr. Toner.
This is the whole entire abstract.
No, she just said Mr. Toner.
No, she said leaving Mr. Toner's in the abstract and taking out Vision Long Island is what I understood.
That is
That's the motion on.
Okay, got it.
So all the other bills have to be
All right,
paid.
I mean, Mr. Toner just,
Okay. I didn't understand the motion, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the motion is to include Mr. Tony.
who did just say, in all fairness, that if the judge rules against him, he won't cash it.
I didn't say that.
Well, you see,
You might want to clarify something.
You know, we don't know how long the litigation's going to go on. We can fight all that all night, there's going to be a lot of public comment all night. I'm willing to take the determination by the judge. I'm sure Mr. Leventhal will soon resolve the issue. And if in fact Mr. Leventhal is the village attorney, by all means, we should be paid.
So would you like to revise that motion with that
No.
Mr. Toner's name in it? Even
So-
though he says it's all right?
Well, let's go through each motion. Trustee DeLucia?
I'm so confused.
The motion is to...
Okay, we're paying the bills, leaving everything in there except for Vision Long Island.
Correct.
Okay, aye.
Trustee Gately?
Nay.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Nay.
Mayor Junta?
Aye.
and now I would like to make a motion that we approve the abstract of claims excluding Vision Long Island and excluding Mr. Toner for the time being.
I'll second that.
And we can move on.
Then we
Who
can
was
pay the
the
bills.
first, the second?
I'll second.
Trustee Avina?
Yay.
Trustee DeLucia?
Okay, I'm just gonna say before I vote, I'm only saying aye because I want the bills paid. The village shouldn't have to suffer because of what's going on here. So aye.
Agreed.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta? No, nay. Let's move on to the resolutions. Number one is a resolution to approve a residential mooring for Tom's Point.
So Leslie, just explain this to me a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Tell them to speak up, they'll listen to you.
Okay?
Number one?
Right.
Okay.
We have the residents with the, 3-year mooring, which on the point resident.
I gotta go, so you gotta find me tomorrow to tell me what happens at the
Can you just explain to me the actual purposes? Is this so we get paid from the town of Hempstead for the moorings?
Yes.
So basically, we're not giving up any rights or anything like that
No, they have the right as residents.
Right.
They have their mooring.
in Manorhaven waters? Okay. But the money goes to the town of Hempstead, and the town of Hempstead in turn gives the money to the
We have
village.
to money.
Okay, just make sure all the residents understand that too, so I was just kind of talking out loud, so
That's
everyone got it. So I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Trustee Avina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta? Number two, there's no resolution, so we're moving on to number three. Number three,
Our lease ended, with our copier.
correct, so number three is a resolution approving the contract for the lease of a copy machine.
Make a motion to accept.
The second, please.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk, please poll the board.
Trustee Avina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye, we have a reso for a portable sound system that Ken Graff is so gracious to let us try.
Time and time again.
Right,
I'll second.
so I haven't finished it.
Oh,
So, we have a reso here for our new sound system, which is approximately $900. So, I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Madam Clerk, please call the board.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Can we move on to the tree resolutions, please?
Yes.
I make a motion that we do all trees together from resolution 5 to 10, because they're all been documented, they're all approved by arborists.
We're going to do them separately, because not everybody might approve,
Well, I make a motion to approve all the tree reports.
It's the mayor's recommendation. It's our general. She wants to go through each resolution.
fine individually. We have 28 Marwood North.
Would anybody like to offer
Sure.
the resolution?
There's an arborist report here.
And may I have a second for number 5, 28 Marwood?
It does say, I'm sorry, 1 second, the tree is hazardous. I'm just reading the report. Imposing the tripping hazard. So, I'm sorry, did somebody call a motion before I was even finished? No.
I second.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you offer the resolution. Is it Mayor?
Your Honor, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gately, second. Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately? Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to the reservoir on 4566 Drive West. Wild black cherry tree.
This is the second one in your packet by
I was just
Henry.
reading the, it's damaging the house. Any questions on this, Pirosa? No? I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
4266 West.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to 81 Furwood. One cherry tree. It says it has destroyed the curbs, driveway, and sidewalk.
Yeah, no, it just, on the top of the page, it says 81 Furwood, but then when he describes it, he wrote 81 Capitol. So I'm just making sure you get to the right house.
We amend it.
I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
The tree exists as described.
Okay.
It does.
I'm taking Mr. Gately's word for it, so I'll make a motion.
Now, need a second, please?
I'll second it.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to 42 Acornwood.
There they are.
Loves, destroying the fence. And the garage. I'll make a motion to approve 42 Acornwood.
I'll second it.
Trustee Vina? Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Now we have 42. I'm sorry. Lauren. 42 Dunwood Road, correct?
Is that one number 66, 68, 50? This is the 66, 68 Hickory first and then Dunes?
No, I'm doing 46.
You're doing Dunes first? Okay.
Yes, I can. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshlav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
I believe it's 68 Hickory.
66,
Right between
68,
62, between 66 and 68. Right, this is the one that Mr. Russ is doing for the wedding. So I'll make a motion for 66 to 68 Hickory Road.
I'll have a second, please.
Second?
Trustee Lina.
Aye.
Trustee Lucia.
Aye.
Trustee Gately.
Aye.
Trustee Manorhaven.
Aye.
Mayor Junta.
Aye. Okay, moving on to the Reso for the yearly audit. Sally and Nadine. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mitch. Yes.
Can I
This
amend
is-
that resolution, or am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Which Reso are you,
This resolution that you have about, are we on number 11?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the yearly audit
Right.
for general office fiscal year, permanent
Yeah, what I
justice.
would like, it says here that it's resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Manorhaven does authorize the village clerk treasurer to make the needed arrangements with the offices to audit the village finances. I would like it just to amend that the village clerk treasurer would make an appointment for the board to meet the auditor to arrange with them the audit of the finances, because we've never really met with the auditor, have we? I don't think we've met with him, so I'd like to meet with him.
It's a separate request.
It's
Yes.
So I have to make that a separate resolution?
You could arrange a work session with the auditor. And I know you actually called him.
Okay, so we'll do that. So
Did you
in
reach
other
out?
words,
I think you spoke to him.
This is just for the audit. This is just for the
no, I didn't.
I just did.
I'd
So
like to-
anyhow, all right, so we can do it at a work session, you said?
We've done the work session, this is just for the audit.
Okay.
This
I'm
is
fine.
just to make sure
I'm
the
fine.
audit gets done, trustee.
Okay.
And please amend the resolutions because that's a typo that I put the year 15-15, it's 14-15. You can only audit the year that ended.
Oh, right.
It was just a
Okay.
typo,
All right,
15-15.
so it's 14.
14-15.
Got
yeah?
it. Got it, no problem.
How's that again?
Trustee Lina.
Aye.
Trustee Lucia.
Aye.
Trustee Gately.
Aye.
Trustee Manorhaven.
Aye.
Mayor Junta.
Aye. Moving on to the list up. Mr. Jonah?
Well, let's have, we just approved the referendum, I received some number of resolutions this afternoon. I'm going through, one of the resolutions, and maybe you can explain it, Mr. Lincoln. One of the resolutions calls to accept the intermunicipal agreement. I have yet to be provided with an intermunicipal agreement, so I think the resolution might be premature, maybe you're privy to it, I don't know. As far as the LoSAP matter goes, it's a very important matter for the village. You know, the disagreement I have with the council for the village, we're not going to let that impair the fact that we need to handle this resolution and get it done. We have an extension to the 30th of October. I believe that, Leslie, you were trying to get a date of October 6th.
October 13th.
Okay, but we need to give enough time so that the fire department gets out and gets this thing.
What is the LoSAP? What is an LOSAP?
Okay.
It's the limit. Okay. So what was the date?
Tuesday, October 13th.
Right. It's a benefit that firemen get for each year of service. And in order to, we got sued by we didn't get sued by the EOC, but there was a complaint filed of age discrimination. And it was always the threat of a lawsuit. So we got together with the other villages in the town, and we tried to come up with a resolution to avoid ultimately being sued. The EEOC did make a determination that there was age discrimination. Now naturally, in Manorhaven, we don't discriminate against anybody. We sort of delegate those duties to the fire department. But there's sort of the atmosphere where the fire department, the first responders, and the villages in the town kind of all in this together. And the parties met over the course of a year or two, and we really hammered out a good, favorable agreement. The fire department kicked in money for the arrears on the age discrimination. We needed to amend our LoSAP law, which required a referendum. So it has to go before the public has to vote on it. All the villages have done it. We're behind. It should have been done by September 30th. You know, some delays in the village, political reasons. But we need to get it done. We got to get it done before October 30th. regardless of any disagreement of who's the attorney and who's writing the amendments, we need to get this done for the village, so I think it's.
Here's the problem, and I take no pride in authorship of the amendments that are forwarded to you today. In fact, the amendments that I forwarded to you are the same amendments adopted by the other municipalities, including the town of North Hempstead, which represents about 44% of the cost of this program. The problem is that not only do the amendments, not only does the LoSAP need to be amended with respect to the benefits, it also needs to be amended so as to provide for a sponsoring board. And so, and that amendment requires a referendum as well as the change to the benefit provisions. So the board needs to authorize 2 referenda. They can take place on the same day. They obviously should take place on the same day. The 2 referenda have to be authorized tonight. And the board and the sponsoring board is created pursuant to an intermunicipal agreement.
We don't have that.
I circulated the resolutions. I can, if you table this until later this evening, I can call my partner, who represents one of the other participating villages, and has been very actively involved in developing this project, and I can find out whether that intermunicipal agreement can be emailed to the board tonight.
As far as the resolution, amending for the additional vote, I agree, I think that resolution should be passed, and then just find out the municipal agreement is.
So really, there are 4 things that the board needs to do. One is to amend the benefit provision in the LoSAP.
We already voted on the one on June 25th. That has to, I know we have to plug in the number, which is, I think, it was 1,295 or something along
The
those lines.
second thing that must be done is the LoSAP must be amended to provide a sponsoring board. The third thing is that the board must authorize and initiate a municipal agreement. And the fourth thing that must be done is the board must authorize the referendum on both of those amendments. So that's,
I think we've authorized it on already, but if it makes this thing go before the 30th of October, I agree. I think it's premature on the intermunicipal agreement until we have one.
I think, doesn't it already exist?
I haven't seen it.
LoSAP is a running program, it has been for years.
It's the new intermunicipal agreement. It's a new agreement, isn't this one?
it most likely reflects the changes to that have been made to the benefits provision.
But we haven't provided, unless we didn't provide that?
No.
All right, so, look, I guess we could authorize it, but we're authorizing something we don't have. It's one of the things
As
that-
I said, if the board wants to table this until later this evening, I'm not suggesting that it be removed from the agenda, but if it wants to delay the vote until I can see if I can reach my partners who was at another municipal meeting tonight, I'll make that attempt.
I concur.
Move on to Monorhaven's contract, please.
Ron Caslo's contract presents a 3% increase. 4%. 4%. Ron does a great job in the village. Ron's very involved with what goes on in the building department. The problem with, the board has to decide is the 4%. I mean, you have a deputy clerk who hasn't gotten a raise. There's a lot of people in the village who haven't gotten a raise. And it's something the board has to consider. He's a contracted employee. He's not an employee, he's a village. It's a hard pill to swallow increases when you have people that move this over. Not saying that Ron doesn't, that there aren't getting increases. That was the only problem I had with the agreement, kind of mirrors the increase.
I kind of agree with you, Mr. Tonya.
Which is something you want to be responsible for the rental registration.
Right. What was he making prior, now? Is this just,
60,000. So it would be an increase of 62,560.
and then the following year, 65,000?
65,000.
I kind of, not that I agree with Mr. Tonya, I disagree with what he said, that there's been no raises for anybody in the village for quite some time. So I find this a little, especially, I don't know what the cost of living increase is either. I know it used to be 2%, I don't know what it is now. But this seems a little high. I think Kevin said it was like 3.8% increase. I think this contract needs to be revised and put on for next month. After maybe the attorney and the mayor or our village clerk, if somebody can talk to on, maybe we can do something. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but.
I can talk to Ron.
I'm sorry, I just said that I think can we table this to review this till next month? Maybe in the meantime, somebody can talk to him about it. I mean, it's just a big increase here.
How did who arrived at these numbers? How did they come about?
This was I believe, his arrangement with the village before we signed the contract. I negotiated the last contract and the board approved it. You know, the services haven't changed, it's the same.
No, but who
He
agreed
does.
to the dollar? Was this Ron's suggestion?
Yeah, this is Ron's.
Yeah, I think Ron plugged in an increase of, the number would be 1.4 times whatever he was getting paid last year.
I don't deny that he doesn't deserve a raise. I just think there's other people in this village that deserve it more. I don't want to say more. I just said, you know, like, they haven't had
I
their
think
raises.
it should be negotiated, I think we can do that, and obviously, Ron's services will continue, rental registration. So it'll just be month to month until we approve it, based on last year's terms.
Well, we still have time, because it says his contract wouldn't start until November 1st, 2015, so we still have October's meeting to approve it if we, you know, after you negotiate.
All right, so I'll make a motion.
You have something, excuse me, do you have something more than just this one page?
I have his contract.
It's no contract.
I don't have a contract.
It's in your packet.
No, it wasn't one. I didn't see it. I don't know what you're on. Was it your
Page
packet?
13,
Everett has it in his packet.
Was it not in my packet?
you only got one page in 13, you didn't get 13.
Well, you know what, we're gonna table
Goes
it.
from 13 to 14. But we'll table it. It's okay.
So that's not your packet. Your packet's right here. Right, it's in that packet, it's there.
This is what was delivered.
This is your screen room.
In that packet.
Anybody knows Ron's contract, maybe?
It's all right.
Talking to me.
I didn't get it. Yeah, it's okay. It's
I'm
all right.
happy to find it for you in your packet, if you want to send your packet over. In the meantime, we're going to make a motion to table the Ron's contract.
Shall we amend then resolution number 13? Resolution number 13 is the resolution authorizing one appointment, adjustment, correction, change in grade or salary, and the termination of employees in the village. We also had, going back to the end of July, a termination due to resignation of Mr. Michael Bransky, who is our building superintendent, and a termination due to resignation intern Alec Ferrara. So those two would stand on the personnel resolution,
We'll just strike the
and
first
we
one.
would strike the first one, move to strike. And we all approve,
Yes.
Okay, so can we have then a motion to
I'll
approve?
make the motion
Thank
to
you.
approve the resolution 13 as written with the exception of the first line renewal of contract with CG.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Trustee Adina?
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. And move on to resolution number 14. Guy Romano, as applied to the town of Hempstead for more improvements within the Manorhaven perimeter. This would allow Hempstead to use 20 moorings in Manorhaven.
In other words, we're not giving up our perimeter, but we are allowing Mr. Lamada to use it?
For 3 years,
Yes,
until Morgan.
until Morgan's is complete.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the board.
Trustee Dina?
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshav?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to Moshe Yakov. Mr. Victor Garrick has applied to the town of North Hempstead for a permit and mooring permit within Manorhaven waters.
You see what this?
No, just a quick question, 'cause I just noticed, is there a reason why the Mr. Lamada's application, resolution,
Is different?
well, he gives specific, exactly how many moorings, but nobody else does. Is there a reason for that?
Because I wasn't given the number of moorings that they applied to.
That's all it is?
It was applied to, for the town, whatever they had asked for. This just allows us to recover half the amount of money from the town of North Hempstead, who issues the mooring permits to each of these municipalities. The one for Mr. Lamada is different because he is using the mooring permits that are in the perimeter that belong to the village.
Yes.
Okay,
The days are divided, that walk you through it.
yeah, me
So
too.
North Shore has their section,
And
we're
then each
basically
one.
saying, because it's in our waters, that yes, they can still get permits, but the town has to pay.
I know, I was just wondering, because they gave an
John
exact amount.
Carolina's is a little different, because he's sort of borrowing
Borrowing.
Okay.
space.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Second.
North Shore Yacht Club.
Second.
Trustee Avina? Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshla?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to the mooring permit for Mike Beach. Matt Myron has authority to come with Hempstead for perimeter. A mooring permit for 50 mooring permits. I make a motion to approve as well.
I'll second.
Madam Clerk?
Trustee Avina?
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshla?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. This is a resolution I wanted to propose to the board, but I haven't had an opportunity. But now I do. And I would like, I'm sorry?
Should have read it.
Okay, good. So I would like to extend and waive any permit fees for any of the residents that would like to repair their sidewalks or driveways at this time, and curbs. So I make a motion to approve.
You're extending it to October 3rd.
Second.
Trustee Avina?
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshla?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Moving on to the Detroit grant, Madam Clerk.
Yes, number 18 is a resolution authorizing, no A in authorizing the filing of a grant application. Every year, we have been very fortunate that our court clerk has been allowed to apply for what is called a JCAP grant, which is the Justice Program Grant. She has procured things like video cameras, surveillance cameras, air conditioners, things that will help the village, particularly for her portion, for the Justice Court. I think it was a JCAP grant that was able to get the podium that's used during court. So it's been wonderful. Every year she's been able to secure a grant for the village, and I highly recommend the passing of this resolution.
If we can put a speaker system in there, sneak that in there. It really is, these mics are horrible.
Well, I think once you did just pass the resolution
I
this
know, but I
evening.
don't know if that's, isn't that one microphone?
Well, we could also add microphones
I
to
can?
that. Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Okay.
And I think the package that we are getting does have the one that's 900 something, it's close to 1,000, between 900 and 1,000, does have more than one microphone, and if we find we need another one, I will get a price on that, and we can approve that at the next meeting.
So I make a motion to
I'll second.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia?
Aye.
Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roshla?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Mayor, I'd like to make a resolution. Whereas on August 20th, 2015, the Board of Trustees adopted a resolution immediately terminating the services of James B. Toner Esquire as counsel to the village and appointing the firm of Leventhal, Curcio, Mulaney, and Blinkoff LLP as village attorney. And whereas on August 31st, 2015, Village Attorney Leventhal requested that Mr. Toner deliver to the Village Hall all village records and other village property in his possession, including but not limited to all active legal files, and on the same day, Mr. Toner declined the request. And whereas Mr. Toner has continued to hold himself out as village attorney for the village of Manorhaven. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that, 1, the Board of Trustees and the individual trustees whose votes are cast to adopt this resolution hereby demand that James E. Toner Esquire deliver to them at Manorhaven Village Hall all books and papers, money, and property belonging to or appertaining to the village of Manorhaven,
I just want to state that.
including but not limited to all files, pleadings, memoranda, and other papers appertaining to the village of Manorhaven, whether open or closed. 2, the firm of Leventhal, Curcio, Mulaney, and Blinkoff, LLP, is hereby directed to provide a copy of this resolution to Mr. Toner in person or via email at www.tonerlawfirm.com on or before September 18, 2015. 3, in the event Mr. Toner has not complied with this demand by the end of business on September 30th, 2015, the firm of Leventhal, Curcio, Mulaney, and Blinkoff, LLP, is authorized and directed to commence legal proceedings against Mr. Toner for the purpose of obtaining his compliance. 4, the firm of Leventhal, Curcio, Mulaney, and Blinkoff, LLP, is further authorized and directed to seek a judgment, A, declaring that Mr. Toner is not the village attorney for the village of Manorhaven, B, enjoining Mr. Toner from claiming directly or indirectly that he is counsel to the village or any department, board, or committee of the village, or to any officer or employee of the village in such officer or employee's official capacity, and C, granting such other and further relief as may be appropriate.
Again, Priscilla, you blindside the board with a resolution that you haven't distributed. I'm speaking to you, trustee Priscilla.
I second motion.
I just want to state something. One second.
You're not?
Yeah, if I may. First of all, I don't have any of the village's money. So I want to state that very clearly. Number 2, this is going to court this week. I will be seeking a temporary restraining order against Mr. Leventhal. The issue is, it's a legal issue. This resolution that you're asking for is illegal. In our legal opinion, the mayor has the right to appoint the village attorney on the village's law 4-400. And that unless she delegates that authority to the board, which she has not done, or unless there's a local law to the contrary, which there is not. So we believe that the mayor has appointed me legally and that you do not have the right to terminate me. Hence, your resolution right now is illegal. I will not comply with it. Mr. Leventhal can sue me tomorrow. I'll be happy, and I embrace that, because it gives us an opportunity to be in front of a judge, to judge this case on the law, not on emotions, not on political bias, not on vendettas, but on the law. And I'm a gentleman. I'm willing to have a gentleman disagreement on this and to go to court and to argue the issues. But this resolution is absurd because it needs to go. Somebody needs to go to court on this. Mr. Leventhal hasn't done it yet, so I am going to do it, or the mayor is going to do it, but it will be done this week. And yes, there will be temporary restraining orders, whether I'm restrained or Mr. Leventhal. It's fine, but it's a legal determination that I respect, and I know Mr. Leventhal respects legal determinations.
I move the question, please.
I'm not going to respect the resolution you're going on. Sue me.
All in favor, please say aye.
Excuse me. I run the meeting. Okay? I'm speaking to you, trustee Priscilla. I said you blindsided the board again with another resolution. Have you provided us with copies of this? No, you wait until the meeting before distributing this again. Giving it to me at 8:30, Mr. Avina, is not acceptable.
Mayor, in my opinion, that's an illegal resolution. It's your meeting. I would ask, as a gentleman, that you table it and determine this. And I'm sure, Mr. Leventhal, we can behave, and you have behave as a gentleman, and you and I can go to court on this, and we can get a court resolution.
Well,
Maybe you could tell us who your clients are.
Let's
well, Mr. Toner, I think you and I both agree, and I think everyone in this room knows that this question is going to be resolved in court. However, the vehicle for doing that is this resolution, and that is why this resolution has been proposed. So a motion has been made, a motion has been seconded. and the Board of Trustees is carrying out its duty. There will be a vote. Some may vote in favor, others may be opposed, and events will follow.
Okay, what I believe, my understanding of this is that if I don't turn over the property that I believe that I rightfully hold, based on the village's law and based on the opinion that I've obtained, they're authorizing you to build the village to sue me so that you obtain private village attorneys. Is that really what it means? It means you're going to obtain legal fees as a result of this resolution. I mean, let's be clear on it so that people in the public understand what it is.
The motion speaks for itself.
Will you build a village for your time if you have to sue me to obtain this information? Will you build a village?
The motion speaks for itself.
Okay, so I think that's a yes.
If the village requests that I perform legal services, and those legal services involve litigation, I will build a village.
And that'll be in addition to your $6,400 a month?
That will be in addition to the same flat fee you have received.
I've never sued a village before.
I move the
I
question.
have no objection.
Trustee Priscilla. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Webb.
You have to name the mayor of that.
I have no objection. You know, Mr. Toner, I don't think you understand the nature of the litigation that's being proposed. I have no intention of suing the village, and I have no intention of suing the mayor.
But doesn't your position, in a sense, isn't it very one-sided in the sense that you're asking the board to authorize you to obtain legal fees? That's what's happening here. I mean, does anybody see what's going on? You're asking them to sign a resolution to authorize you to build a village, to sue me because I haven't turned over a legal file. It's absurd. It's absurd. You're gonna, and I'll tell you, we could all save the money because I'm suing, the mayor will be suing your office.
I don't understand why we need this resolution when we all agreed, well, I thought we all agreed that we were gonna wait until next week to see who was the attorney and who wasn't.
Because they plan
Ms.
on
Levinthal, you end up being my attorney? Okay,
I will
all
be
for
happy
it.
to
But-
explain.
No, I don't want to,
There's nothing to explain other
I'm
than
not gonna entertain this back and forth all the time, this is ridiculous.
you just can't blindside the board every day, every time, Priscilla, with the resolution.
All right, I move the question, please. All in favor?
No, you're not
Aye.
asking.
All opposed?
I'm sorry.
I think the resolution carries.
No, you know what?
Well, you're not moving the question, somebody should be calling the roll.
It's
I'm not calling anything right now. Trustee DeLucia speaking, Kevin.
No, I'm done. I mean, I don't know what to do anymore. This is just getting ridiculous and out of hand, and I'm embarrassed up here, I really am. For all the years I've been here, never ever entertained something like this before. It's just absolutely disgusting. So if you want to pull the board, Mayor, pull the board, and whatever happens, happens. I'll wait. My attorney will be who the judge says it is. That's how I feel.
Why are you endorsing this resolution?
We're all in agreement.
We're all in agreement with Rita, okay? Whatever the judge says, I will definitely.
So if you're willing to let the courts litigate it, why are you forcing this resolution on the
Force
board?
them to go to the court, that's what we're trying to do.
No, you're not forcing.
Political suicide, we love it. Keep it up.
I move the question, please. Would the clerk please call the roll?
I'm waiting for the mayor's instructions, trustee, please.
Well, I think it's this. I'm going to advise the mayor not to accept the resolution on the basis that the initial resolution terminating me was illegal. This is an illegal
Mr.
resolution.
Toner, do you have a conflict of interest in advising the board on this?
I'm advising the mayor on the board right now.
Do you have a conflict?
Please keep it down, guys, so I'll first from the crowd.
I'm advising the mayor.
Are you advising the board with respect to a resolution that the board
No.
legalized?
Answer no. I'm advising the mayor. I got to clarify this because I think these conflicts, and you put yourself as an expert in this field. Are you the mayor's attorney right now?
I am a village attorney.
And then part and parcel of being village attorney, so I understand, does that include the mayor?
Not personally. I
Well, what's the
represent.
difference between the position of mayor and the person who holds the office? Yeah, let's play. I mean, it sounds like semantics. Forgive me, but what's the difference between Giovanna and the mayor?
If you are a municipal attorney, then you understand very well.
So I've been a municipal attorney in the toughest village on this island for 2 years. You can't pull the criminal card anymore. This is the toughest village to work in. I have been through so much in this village. To say, oh, you're a criminal lawyer and you don't understand these issues. This is the toughest issue, not Flower Hill where everyone smiles and people run unopposed. This is the most tough village. I'm telling you that I'm a veteran village attorney because I've worked in Manorhaven. So don't tell me I'm a criminal lawyer. But I just want to know, because I have a hard time with semantics, is how do you separate the position of mayor from Giovanna? And how do you represent the mayor, yet not represent Giovanna? Explain that.
I'm shocked that you would ask such a question.
But then let's explain it. Explain it.
Because the people in the audience who are reacting to the demagoguery don't understand, but you do. You very well do understand.
I have been advising
You
her
know-
all night. So
You
if
know
you're
that
the...
there is a difference between Giovanna Giunta in her personal capacity and Giovanna Giunta, excuse me, in her official capacity as mayor of this village.
You represent Giovanna Giunta in her official capacity as mayor of this village. The answer yes?
I didn't hear you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so,
Absolutely.
thank you. I mean, I just wanted to clarify, that's not, this is not a...
I represent the office of the mayor.
So, again, you represent Giovanna Giunta in her official capacity as mayor of this village.
That's right. And I might also add, for your benefit and for the benefit of the public that's here, merely being on the losing end of a resolution does not make a conflict of interest. A conflict of interest may very well arise. There may come a time when I am unable to represent the mayor of this village, and a separate and independent lawyer may very well be required to be appointed to represent Mayor Giunta. That circumstance may arise. It has not arisen yet, because merely being on the losing end of a resolution does not rise to the level of an actual conflict of interest.
I'm sorry, I'm confused at what resolution you're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm talking about the resolution terminating your services and appointing me.
All right, so being on a losing end, being paid,
No,
I don't understand. I'm losing.
let me go through it one more time. There may come a time when the mayor requires and is entitled to independent counsel. That time will come if and only if there is an actual conflict of interest. But merely being unhappy about a decision that the majority of the Board of Trustees made does not rise to the level of conflict of interest. There has to be an actual conflict with respect to a particular matter. It can't be a generalized grievance or the fact that you are on the losing end of a resolution.
So let's set the conflict of interest issue aside. The mayor believes the resolution was illegal based on New York State religious law, and she wants to litigate that issue. So the question is, I take a different position than you. I don't believe it's the mayor who needs to obtain independent counsel. According to my understanding of the law and my consultations with my counsel, and the mayor's consultation with our counsel, it's the board. If the board has a conflict, it's the board, in my opinion, and differing minds may agree or not, but in my opinion, it's not the mayor who obtains independent counsel in this scenario. It's the board who obtains independent counsel from the village attorney if the village attorney was duly appointed by a mayor subject to the village's law, where there's no contrary local law to the contrary, and there's no delegation of authority to the Board of Trustees to appoint the village attorney. There's attorney general opinions on this, there's case law on this. This is horn book law. So look, you have your opinion and I respect it, and I have mine, but you need a judge or an appellate judge or somebody to make the final rule, and I'm willing to do this as a gentleman. I'll stand in court, and you can have your argument. I'm not even getting to the conflict of interest. I'm getting to the actual resolution itself.
Well, we're going around in circles, but we're in agreement that this matter must be and will be resolved in court. So
that's what we do.
So doesn't the...
At the taxpayer's
I have a
expense.
question. Well, either way,
It's in mine.
in order to go to this board, right? Yes.
It's moot. Mr. Leventhal not going to sue anybody. He's going to have to answer my lawsuit, or the mayor's lawsuit next week. But you're going to get a TRO expert.
But who's paying for that? Is the village paying for that, or is she as an individual paying for that?
Kevin, let me ask you this, and I want to ask you this as a trustee. If you did something that violated New York State religious law, are you willing to own up to it and pay the attorneys that have to litigate it? If you violated the law, will you stand up and say,
If
we made a mistake?
Trustee Gately, there's no need for you to be aggressively cross-examined by Mr. Tony. The fact of the matter is,
I'm sorry.
the fact of the matter is, in order for any claim to be asserted on behalf of the village, that claim must be authorized by the Board of Trustees. So, if the only plaintiff here, if the only claim that is made will be made by Mr. Toner, then he's absolutely right. There's no resolution necessary. But if there will be a claim going the other way on behalf of the majority of the Board of Trustees that appointed me as village attorney, then this board must approve this resolution.
And that is how we got it.
Just an addendum, the mayor can bring her own litigation on behalf of her position as mayor in support of the fact that the board violated the village's law. No, you don't.
Okay,
You did
wait,
something
so-
illegal.
The
it
mayor
just- don't-
cannot bring any claim on behalf of the village
Correct.
without the
Correct.
approval of the Board of Trustees.
That's correct, but she can bring an action against the board of trustees for violating the village law.
She can, well, it's.
All right, so what you're saying, let me understand this. The board can do whatever they want, the mayor has to sit there and take it, and there's no remedy.
Correct.
Mayor, you know that word.
Do you think that's what I'm saying?
It sounds, well, explain it.
I don't think you're required
How can
to
she-
explanation.
how can she not bring an action in joining the board?
I think
I
it's
think we
crystal
are.
clear
It's not.
to everyone in this room.
She can bring an action to enjoin illegal activity on
Actually,
behalf of the office of
Mr.
mayor.
Leventhal, it's not really crystal clear to me either.
What, I'd be glad to.
So this
I'd be glad to-
resolution, let me just put it in layman terms so we all understand this. If we pass this resolution, we pay for you to go to court.
That's correct.
If we don't pass it, we pay for Toner to go to court. So either way, somebody's getting, the village is paying. Is that what you're saying?
Double. The fact of the matter.
Defending his position.
Of course, but I'm just saying.
No outbursts from the crowd,
That's what this resolution basically is that giving you the power to sue Mr. Toner and we, as the village, pay for it.
This board appointed me as village attorney. Mr. Toner refuses to accept the will of this board.
We can, you know,
This-
Mr. Leventhal, we're gonna go all night. Because they go,
That's
there's
why
two,
I said just.
so, like we said, I don't understand why we need this resolution when we can just wait till you go to court. Why is it so hard?
Well,
This will bring us to court.
because in a court case.
No, this is bringing us to court so we can pay for him to go to court.
You're gonna pay Mr. Toner to go to court.
No.
Well,
That is a red herring, it is a confusion that Mr. Toner created. The fact is that in litigation, there are claims asserted and claims defended. It is true, Mr. Toner is free as an individual to go to court and assert a claim. He can sue me as an individual, and I will have to defend that claim as an individual, if that's what his intention is. However, in order for this board to assert its rights in court, that resolution must be authorized by this board. And I will tell you this board terminated Mr. Toner's services. This board appointed me as a trustee, and I realize that there are some people who think that was done illegally, but they are not judges. A judge will ultimately decide that question. But while that question is waiting to be decided, Mr. Toner has refused to accede to the will of this board. He has refused to turn over the files. He continues to hold himself out as village attorney. He is not waiting for a judge to make that determination. He is taking the law in his own hands. He's ignoring the democratically elected representatives of the village. And this resolution is this board authorizing me to see that its will is carried out.
May I make a suggestion? If in the event that I do bring a lawsuit on behalf of my position, I pledge not to charge the village legal fees for that. But I think the resolution ought to have an independent counsel, someone other than Mr. Leventhal, bring that lawsuit, because it seems very self-serving that Mr. Leventhal is arguing for the passage of a resolution that awards him an hourly fee so that he can abstract from the village for the purposes of enforcing something that I believe is illegal in the first place.
I am not arguing, unlike you, I'm not arguing in favor.
That was a proposition, not an
I'm
argument.
not arguing in favor of anything. A trustee has made a motion, another trustee has
Again,
seconded
we're
that
objecting
motion.
to the legality of that motion, and we're reserving the right to bring it in court. It may not matter, I'm not complying with it anyway, but the end result is The end result is, Mr. Leventhal is arguing to the board to pass a resolution to pay him additional legal fees
I am
for
not
something that he did illegal in the first place.
I am not doing that.
And I'm sure you advised them, Mr. Leventhal, with respect to the original resolution, which is patently contrary to the village law.
You want to call a question?
I'd like to,
I would like to
all
call.
in favor, show their hand, say aye. Aye.
Of what?
All against, say nay.
I'm refusing this, Jeff.
The record should reflect that trustee Rochlau, trustee Avina, and trustee Gabriel.
The mayor did not permit the resolution.
I abstain. Just so for the record.
It's a show of
So we have
hands, you gotta
3
call the
ayes,
board.
1 abstention.
Please don't call out Mrs. Mallon.
Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, the
Again,
resolution.
I guess you don't care, the public spoke last time. It didn't faze you that you had to blindside the board again with a ridiculous resolution, right?
It was not a ridiculous.
The public spoke out against Mr. Leventhal's being village attorney.
But the
And the
elected
resolution.
officials voted
However,
for
we're
it.
elected.
It's what the court decided. And I said this when I initially spoke. I'm willing to do this as a gentleman. It doesn't, me and Mr. Masiello can yell at each other over it, but what does it solve? I believe that the law is in my favor, and if I'm wrong, I'm willing to walk away. And that's it.
Just let the
So
court
why do we gotta
decide.
shout at each other? Why can't we be gentlemen?
We already voted on this.
You know, this resolution is as powerful as the last one. It has no legal force whatsoever.
The record should reflect an end in Mr. Turner opposition.
I'm not accepting.
I have done that to comply with the direction of the board.
So, look, I'll be a gentleman, Mr. Leventhal, you do whatever you can call whatever you're doing here, and we'll take this up in court.
I'd like to make a resolution.
Who are we firing
No,
now?
now what's his
Let's
resolution?
fire Nancy. Nancy, you're getting fired tonight.
It's a real simple resolution. Whereas the Board of Trustees wishes to increase the level of preparedness for regular meetings of the board. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that the board shall meet in public work session at Village Hall on October 6th at 7:30. The board shall meet in a public work session at Village Hall on October 22nd at 6:30. The clerk treasurer is hereby directed to give public notice to meetings in accordance with the open meetings law.
I'll second that.
I want to say something. I know that,
October 6th is a planning board meeting, you can't meet that night.
right, and you know what, you just make up these dates and these resolutions and you blindside the board. I know that the clerk
We can make
had
it.
asked if you had any resolutions to present it 2 weeks ago or a week ago. And none were presented, so you decide now at 8:45 to present another resolution, not even seeing what the availability of trustee DeLucia or myself or the rest of the board is. Only what's convenient for you, Mr. Avina and Priscilla and Gately, with no regard for anybody else's schedule.
This month, we have not had a work session.
Oh, is this about, are you
We have
kidding?
given them 4
Are you
days.
an elected official?
We've asked them
We'll
to
be
meet
playing
at any
games. I
time
mean,
that they
really.
wanted to meet. We begged them for a work session. There is no way
That is not-
to do the village business 1 hour
Priscilla,
a month.
Priscilla, I am speaking.
Where we are.
Priscilla, I am speaking.
Would you address this then?
We provided all information, that's not accurate. That
Which
is
one
not
was
accurate.
We've been trying for 30 days to have a work session, and it hasn't been.
That's not true. You wanted to have a work session on 9/11 when we had our ceremony, and you both asked me to cancel the ceremony.
No, I did
Yes,
not.
you did.
No, when I.
Mr. Trustee Avina, you had said to me that at 5 o'clock it has no significance, and you suggested that I cancel the ceremony, and I disagree with
No,
you.
no, that's not, well, I know it's not true. I wrote and said, since we have not been able to agree on a time to have a work session, we've asked for 4 dates, why not have it after the ceremony, since we're all together here anyway? And I have emails, which I will email to anyone who wants to give me their email, that everybody wrote back, the clerk, everybody wrote back, saying that it would be very disrespectful to have a meeting on a 9/11. When I pointed out that even Leslie was working all day before the meeting. I said I didn't think it was disrespectful. However, they all agreed that we could not meet 9/11, and I agreed with that. But we have been begging for work sessions. You deserve to have us working for you, and you deserve to be in the meetings, listening to us work for you. We cannot have a work meeting. It's illegal to have one when we all get together without you being here. So you have to be notified. And Leslie has to call the meeting and notify you all when the meeting is. We need at least 2 meetings a month. We cannot do the business in this one, in an open meeting like this. There are things that we want to just hash out, and we want to talk. You've all asked us to please get together. This is how we're trying to get together.
We're trying to get together by presenting resolutions last minute to the
Well, that
board
was our
without letting us
next
review
meeting.
it.
If you won't
That's
call a
not
meeting-
working together.
If you won't call a meeting, we have to make
If
a
you wouldn't-
resolution to have a
Difference
meeting.
We
between
already-
getting the resolutions at 5:30 PM, the day of the meeting, and bringing them in here.
We got it.
I'm at work, do you think I have time to actually read? It's calculated.
That's not
We
true.
got 40
Leslie
at
Leslie
at
emails
three-
the packets and the resolutions to you.
And she emailed 6 or 7 different versions, and they never agreed.
That's
Mr.
not.
Gately, you had
that's not
asked me
accurate.
to provide resolutions as they're written. And
Why
what
don't we have a
happens
work
is
session
then when
talk
they
about
get,
it?
when they are
Why we need
amended,
a work
then you don't have the same.
That is not what is
We're
happening.
gonna have to really work on a date. We've been trying to get a date.
Well, we
Apparently
all
the
have our
first meeting-
calendars, let's do it
Excuse
right
me,
now.
don't overtalk me. The first meeting you boycotted, the second meeting you guys decided to hijack, and apparently, well, you did hijack this meeting again, and you presented 2 resolutions at 8:45 without letting Rita or I review them.
Rita, do you have your phone?
Yeah,
Can we make a date? Let's
do
make a
it.
date
Well,
for
I
a
don't
work
have
meeting.
my agenda here.
That's-
I have to
Say,
check, please,
October
to
6th,
the
I know the
board, I
22nd.
need to check planning board meetings,
All right.
I need to check the BZA meeting
The
dates, I
sixth,
need
the
to check
6th and the
court dates.
13th, the 6th is the planning board, the 13th is the BZA, those are Tuesday. Because it seems like Tuesdays is what's beneficial to both of you. It seems like you've been picking Tuesdays, I don't know. I'm just saying, so those 2 Tuesdays
Well,
are.
would you like to do Thursday? Just to let you know.
15th.
What are we talking about? October 15th?
Yeah.
8th, 15th,
Listen, is there any other meetings on fortnight or?
What is the date that we just set the LoSAP referendum for?
16th.
So it's the day after that we want to have a work session late that night, and then I have to be here.
15th.
That-
Look,
and the next-
we could fill up the entire calendar all year long and never have a work session. So why can't we have 2 meetings in a row? We have a referendum and then we can have a meeting. I don't understand this.
Referendum, it's not a meeting.
Okay, it's not even a meeting, right? I
It's
apologize.
not a meeting, the hours of the referendum, so I'm gonna be here the next day for 6 hours running an election. The referendum is an election for the village.
And what date do you have the referendum for?
The next day, the
What day?
16th.
The 16th?
so what about the 8th?
Can
There's
the deputy
declaration
clerk take
before
your
an
place?
election.
Can the deputy clerk take your place in a work meeting?
If there's no continuity, I mean, if I have to get out of town, then the deputy can take over, but I'd like to hear.
This
what's
is what we
going on.
go through, trust me.
We-
I
if we had
cannot
gotten
get a
it-
meeting.
Trustee, if we had had a date and a couple of things were emailed around, we could have set it with a calendar and discussed it before 9 o'clock tonight.
We all did that.
4 times.
We could produce copies of emails
Nine
circulated
Well,
that
because
have been pointed
you're
out dates.
insisting on dates that either,
Oh, we can stop at
trustee,
9/11. I was the president of Cannabis Joe. I lost 250 people I know on that day.
right,
Okay?
and that's why you asked me to cancel the ceremony.
48.
Wait.
I want you to cancel it.
You did.
I wanted to change the time.
You said it had no significance at 5 o'clock is exactly what you said to me.
That is so crazy.
No.
I
You're
spent
not being
48
truthful.
memorial services. Don't tell
It's
me
not
about
that
it.
true. You weren't present here. You weren't present when it was on. Maybe you were away.
October 8th, how does that sound?
4. We have to wait. 7
7 PM, October 8th, we will have a work session. I will notice it and publish it. 7 PM.
October 8th, 7 p.m. I hope you
I would
all
like,
come.
I would like to ask, excuse me, I would like to request, please, of the trustees to present what you would like to be on the agenda for the work session so that we can prepare, so that I can invite the person who is going to present from the bank and we can take care of that. If you would.
I would like to interrupt. I think we have a lot of items on the work session, unfinished business, that we have talked about and we haven't taken.
If you would
So the
please
bank-
present that to me, I won't do the bank
Thank
then.
you. I appreciate it.
We won't do the bank that night, but please, I would like to be able to make an agenda for that work
Absolutely.
session. Thank you.
I don't have. No, the one here, reserve it. We have one more.
Well, now Mr. Gately is presenting a resolution at 5 to 9.
Whereas in the responsible exercise of his responsibility to govern the business affairs of the village, the Board of Trustees wishes to anticipate potential conflicts of interest that, while not currently present, may nevertheless arise from time to time. Whereas the Board of Trustees wishes to provide for the engagement of special conflicts counsel in the event of a conflict of interest arises that would prevent the village attorney from representing the village or from representing a village officer or employee in his or her official capacity. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that the budget for the 2014-2015 fiscal year shall be, and is hereby amended to reallocate the transfer the sum of $10,000 from the planning board council to the conflicts council account. Application and expenditure of the funds allocated to conflicts council shall be made only upon approval of the board of trustees. So this is exactly, if a conflict of interest arises, this puts money aside, not new money, money that's sitting in a fund that's not been touched, aside specifically to address that particular conflict.
I second the motion.
And I just want to state,
Stop seconding and allow Mr. Toner to
the
speak.
problem that I don't,
No, when the motion is made, when the motion is made, the first order of
I'm
business
gonna allow
is
Mr.
a second.
there's a legal issue, Mr. Leventhal.
I'm gonna allow,
I'm gonna advise the mayor. How's that?
Well, I am
And the mayor's running the meeting, not you, Mr. Leventhal. But anyway, the problem I have with this,
is a motion.
is this microphone, the problem I have with this,
Hey, Mr. Leventhal, we have to behave ourselves. Would you please behave?
the problem I have with this is we have a planning board council who's been duly appointed by the mayor for a set salary. By allocating the money for a position that he's been appointed for, it is usurping the authority conferred to the mayor under 400 of the village's law, and you know that, Mr. Leventhal. So essentially, he's saying we have council that's got he's duly appointed to a public office, and you're allocating his salary to a conflict attorney where there's been no conflict established.
That is
Now, you're the conflict attorney in North Hempstead, aren't you, Mr. Leventhal?
Excuse me, that is absolutely
Why do you want to hire another lawyer?
Mr. Toner.
We have to rearrange it.
Mr. Toner, that what you said is absolutely wrong. First of all, the budget provides for $30,000 for planning board counsel. The planning board hardly ever meets. The $30,000 is not a salary, it's a fund against which the lawyers bill on an hourly basis. The $30,000 will never be reached, it will never be spent. It is pure dissembling and misleading to the public to suggest this is some kind of usurpation of the mayor's authority. This is just reallocating $10,000 from one legal counsel line to another so that in the event a conflict of interest arises, there is already a budgeted fund available to provide independent counsel, which it seems to me is what you and the mayor have been suggesting all along.
My problem is what you're suggesting is spending more village money on more legal fees.
Not at all.
Because we don't spend,
Not at all.
because we don't spend the money, we should allocate it
No.
to another one of Mr. Leventhal, Mr.
No,
Terry's
no, Mr.
friends,
Toner.
and hire yet another lawyer in this village. Is this, by show of hands, is anyone tired of spending your taxpayer money on attorneys? How many more attorneys do we need?
It's a reserve.
I'm willing to take a court ruling and say, hey, if I'm not the village attorney,
It's not a bonus.
Sir.
Hey, don't be calling for a hand raise for roll call. This is absurd. He's an employee of the village.
Out of these meetings every month.
I'm not taking this. I'm saying
Absolutely
him.
are.
The whole time I'm
This resolution does not authorize a payment. It authorizes an allocation.
Reserves the money. By the way, you're the one we had in mind.
It's creating another political patronage job. It's more political patronage.
Yes, but you might be the patron.
This is becoming North Hempstead. This is becoming North Hempstead. You got North Hempstead.
Okay, can I just say something? Can I just say something? That one is on the floor, we're allowed to
Keep
speak
it down,
about
please.
Okay.
Everyone keep it down. Thank you.
I don't understand why, Mr. Leventhal, that we're automatically assuming there's going to be a conflict of interest. That, no. That bothers me right off the bat. Because if there's a conflict of interest, then I'm trying to assume it has something to do with the town of Hempstead, where I believe you have a position there also?
No.
Or one of your partners? I'm still not understanding because
That's incorrect.
okay, whatever it may be, this bothers me. I understand we're just moving funds from one line to another because that's all a budget is. It's moving, you can move $5 here and $5 there. It doesn't really matter until you spend the money. I totally get it. I just don't like the whole fact that you're anticipating a conflict of interest.
You know, I sometimes have to question my own ability to adjust because I have just endured 2 public meetings in which Mr. Toner repeatedly said that there is a conflict of interest because the mayor doesn't want to be represented by the attorney appointed by the Board of Trustees. Now, I do not agree that there is a conflict of interest. However, I do agree that there is a possibility in the future, whether the village attorney is me, Mr. Toner, Peter B., or any other attorney, there is a possibility that circumstances will arise in which some village official requires independent counsel. That is demonstrated by all of the controversy that has been swirling around this room. So this is a responsible means of providing for the future possibility that a conflict of interest will arise. You can claim that it has something to do with the town of Manorhaven. You can claim that I have some partner that I do not have. But it has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with responsibly providing a mechanism that will be in place to operate in the event there actually is a conflict of interest.
The conflict that I raised with the mayor was one of 2 conflicts I raised with Mr. Leventhal, and most respectfully, Attorney Gerard Terry, the Democratic leader of North Hempstead, is the attorney for Peter DeJana on numerous illegal trailers in this village that are being prosecuted. We've obtained a judgment for $69,500 last year. There's approximately $100,000 in outstanding fines. It has everything to do with it because Gerard Terry, the attorney that's handling that case that we're prosecuting, is on Mr. Leventhal's letterhead. And not only is he a member of his firm, but Mr. Gerard Terry submitted a retainer agreement to the village of North Castle on the letterhead of Mr. Leventhal's firm, signed the letter, and if you go to the website of the village of North Castle, they videotaped the village meeting where it says that Gerard Terry is a representative of Mr. Leventhal's firm. So when I say there's a conflict of interest, I say yes, the mayor will not be represented by Mr. Leventhal because of the appearance that Mr. Terry, who is representing most respectfully Mr. DeJana, whether the trailers are legal or not, it's a case that's in our courts, but Mr. Terry is the counsel, and Mr. Terry, having an opposing case with our village, is a representative of Mr. Leventhal's firm, and it's undeniable in this letter. You can go to the North Castle website.
If it's undeniable,
You didn't tell us this.
If it's undeniable, then perhaps.
So why would the mayor have to have you as her attorney knowing this? Why would she do that?
Are you finished?
No, I'm not. You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me.
Mayor.
Why would Mayor Giovanna accept you as counsel, knowing that Mr. Terry has a clear conflict of interest? I don't understand how you purport to not have a conflict with Mr. Terry. When you signed the retainer agreement, you let him, he uses the word "we" in reference to your firm 17 times in this letter. 17 times, and one time he refers to it as us. There is such a clear and concise connection between you and him that I gotta tell you, it really appears to be improper that you would represent this village in any respect. So yes, I do raise a conflict, and of course we'll raise it in court, but it's twofold. That you don't have the right to represent the mayor, and that you do not have the right, because of this conflict, to represent the board.
Do you want to call the question?
Yeah! I love it. So, please keep it down, sir.
I call the question.
Don't you throw this guy out for an outburst?
Yeah, I think that,
Yes, police officers, you only throw people out of this room who are opposed to the mayor? Is that how it works?
Mr. Leventhal?
I move the question, please. Madam Clerk, I move the question.
I need a copy of what the question is. Nothing has been
Would you please
handed
give
to
it
me.
to
I have
Leslie?
nothing for any records. So this is the resolution to...
I move the question, you don't have to.
I'm
we all
just
heard
trying-
it. We all heard it. You don't have to read it again.
Okay, Madam Clerk, as far as I know, I think this is what Mr. Gately read at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I did not really have the time to hear what he said, so I wanted to make sure it was very clear and concise. I think if you have a problem with making sure everybody understands what they're voting on, because they'd only seen it for the
I'm
first
just
time.
moving the question, please just take the vote.
Can you please describe in your own words what the question is, though, so I understand it?
Excuse
so I
me,
can
It's a
make it.
resolution.
You won't read it to the
Excuse me.
minutes.
Are you voting on this?
No, I'm just trying to understand so I can write the minutes. Excuse me, Mr. Gately,
Ms. Gross, you are the clerk.
I'm trying,
You
and
are
I need
here,
to,
you are.
Mr. Leventhal, don't be condescending to the clerk. She works very hard.
You are here to take instructions.
She was so condescending to
I am
Priscilla.
trying to understand so I can write the minutes, correct?
You've got a copy.
She's asking to clarify. Mr. Leventhal, sit down.
The resolution stands as it is. You have the resolution. I move the question, please. Call the roll.
She's asking
Excuse me, I am marking the resolution, Madam Trustee.
It seems it takes an awful long time to call the roll when
I am-
Trustee Von Roschlaw makes a motion.
It is a resolution that was just handed to me. I need to mark this in as an exhibit, do I not, Mr. Leventhal?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Trustee Avina,
Aye.
Trustee DeLucia,
Abstain.
Trustee Gately, Trustee Van Roschlaw,
Aye.
Mayor Junta.
No. I also want to say that I think you should be a little bit more respectful to our court, considering we had an incident, and I'm going to say it on the record with Leslie. Priscilla, you had come in requesting to look at the oath book, and you injured our clerk in the process. And there was an incident report on that. So I'm tired of this harassment, I'm tired of this hijacking. You need to conduct yourselves accordingly. This is embarrassing. Right. And I'm not taking any comments on the attorneys, so, any comments? Oops, sorry.
I have a few things, I'm going to
Sorry,
read
your
it. Pat Barry, 12 Dunes Lane. I have a few things, I'm going to read them fast, not to take up any more
You
time.
have 3 minutes.
I find that there's a desperate need for beautification as you enter Manorhaven Boulevard. The rain garden flower beds that surrounded by the permeable sidewalks from Shore Road to Cottonwood Road need to be replanted. At some point, along with the weeds, all the rain garden perennial native plants that included black-eyed Susans, wild geraniums, blue flat iris, columbine, and phlox were all removed. These mulch gardens, now filling with weeds again, totally end to end, have remained bare all summer long. The roadside view in this area needs some desperate beautification. And I would like to add, a few weeks back, I saw a village truck loaded with beautiful yellow perennials. And I got so excited because I'm like, oh, good, they're going to do the rain gardens. Well, lo and behold, the next day, all of them were planted around the circumference of the already attractive and well-groomed island in Manhasset Isle. What happened to us? Are we, I don't know what to say. But you think it's beautiful? You hired someone to come for $15,000 to tell you how to improve Manorhaven. All we need to do is open our eyes and look around. I mean, it's a disgrace. I want everybody, when they leave here tonight, to walk across the street. There's weeds that probably are close to violating our village code that are 5 to 6 inches of wild grass, not even grass that our fellows could mow. The second thing I would like to discuss was Food Truck Fridays. Can this village provide the sponsor permits that is required 30 days prior to the first day of the event? Can this village provide a copy of the annual or temporary permits that each food vendor was supposed to present the village? Since the event ran more than 1 month, each truck had to submit theirs monthly. These copies are to be kept with the Village of Manorhaven sponsor permits. And did the village check with our insurance carrier if we needed to have a rider added on to our insurance policy? After all, we did not know if just the 25 that seemed to attend or 200 were going to attend. The village abstract shows that $4,089 was spent on this event, not including 2 men on overtime each time the event ran. I don't know, was it worth it? I didn't attend. Maybe it was great. I can't answer. But I would hope that the guidelines that I had to follow when I was running events in the village were still being followed.
Thank you very much, Mrs. DeBarry. 3 minutes is up.
I would also like to say,
Your 3 minutes are up. I have to allow
that the
other residents.
9/11 memorial, when Wayne Wink showed up late, he was practically running, that the podium didn't even acknowledge that he had arrived.
Thank you for your concern.
I'm going to divert from what I was
Your
going to
name,
say.
please, sir.
Nick Mara,
Sorry.
12 Blue Lane. I have a question on the abstract. And I thought before you approved the abstract that someone in the audience had a chance to question it. These dates that appear on here, can we find out what dates some things occurred? Like you say you paid John Doe $3,000. What day did that occur? Are these dates adjacent to their name, the dates the bill got to you or the work was done?
The dates you see on the abstract are when we cut the checks.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Right. So they have nothing to do with the dates of the
The performance of the service, no,
Right.
it's when we get to do that. You are welcome to come and see the backup to any of the checks that are written.
I'm not interested in seeing the checks. So you must have copies of all the invoices
We
that
have
come in.
copies attached to
Okay.
every one of the invoices that anybody is welcome to see. The trustees are welcome to see. I have often invited trustee Priscilla, who has been very interested in that. So the invoices are part of the backup that are also seen by our accountants and that are also taken a look at by our auditors every year. So the backup is there.
Oh, I'm going to question that, okay? Question I have, there's 2 invoices here for Port Plumbing. I'd like, since you offered so courteously to give that to the trustee, maybe tomorrow morning you could get both of those invoices
Sure, we
ready.
had 2 backups recently, so that's what they were.
Oh, I know exactly what they were for.
Oh, okay.
I know exactly what they were for. I happen to be witness to one of them. It's a little ambiguous, what I don't understand. it says here that one was a sewer backup of Dunwood to Hickory. I happened to be witness to the gentleman doing the work that whole evening. I never saw him anywhere near Dunwood. He was definitely by Hickory Road because it occurred the evening of our last meeting. And I have myself and 2 other people witness that we were there.
We have pictures, everything is documented, the manholes were overflowing.
No. Madam Mayor, I'm not denying it happened. We know what happened, I saw it. Okay. Secondly, on this thing here, the people that were doing the work, they weren't from Port Plumbing. So tomorrow, when you're so anxious to provide record, why don't you provide whoever did the work, if by law, the gentleman from Port Plumbing is supposed to supply you all current, up-to-date workman's compensation and liability for that company, okay? So you should have them right in that office right now. So tomorrow morning, we'll see if you have them, okay? Because Port Plumbing wasn't doing the work, okay? He subbed it to somebody else.
All right, your 3 minutes are up, thank you very much.
Lady, 48 Snyderwood Drive. I'm just discussing what went on tonight. They hijacked the whole meeting. Mrs. Manorhaven lived in the village 3 years. Mr. Gately, 3 years. Mr. Levine, I don't care how long he lived here. But the idea is, I'm living in this village 53 years, and I'm insulted the way you hijacked this meeting tonight. And then you come up with a resolution, and I know you didn't write it. Mr. Leatherthorpe probably wrote it, and Mr. Gately did a beautiful resolution. He didn't write it. And he's complete conflict of interest. He wrote the darn things, and he's going to be put in the court against each other. Why don't you both, all 3 years, grow up?
I'm Michelle Sella, Ossining, up in Westchester. I live. My sister and I are the owners of 156 to 160 Shore Road. And I'm here because I just don't know where else to go after almost a year of squabbling. About 19 years ago, the county put in a curb and a sidewalk in front of our property. In the process, they narrowed our property so much that you can't turn the car around. So what happened after they put in the curb is that we had to back out from the properties, the Dunkin' Donut, back out onto Shore Road. Even 19 years ago, Shore Road was very busy. The county quickly realized that they had a disaster waiting to happen, and they suggested that we talk to the other owners along the strip there, 152, and see if we could work out some way of entering our property and going out on 152, which is the beer distributors. My father, Charles Sella, was born in the town, and his friends, he knew the Nogas and the Mizzles and the Dejanas, and they all just agreed as gentlemen to allow the cars to go in one way and come out the other, and it worked fine. Recently, 152, the beer distributor, was sold, and the first thing that happened was the gentleman offered to buy our property at 1/3 of the assessed value. When that didn't work, he then told us we had to pay $1,000 a month to exit on the property. We finally worked it out to $800 a month. We have now paid $8,000. It really is extortion money. We cannot back out onto Shore Road. Everybody knows that. You can't back out without having a major accident. And he said he'll put up a wall, so we'd have to pay the money. We thought we had a little relief when an injunction was passed that said we didn't have to pay until legally we could figure out what to do. The county is washing its hands. They told us that we could have a curb cut, but we don't have the room. They said we'd have to either move the buildings back or turn cars around. Well, we can't do it. They prevented us from turning our cars around when they put the curb in. So they said the village should deal with it. The injunction allowed us some relief. We didn't have to pay the $800 a month for some strange reason. The judge lifted the injunction. We had to pay $4,000 back, saying that the gentleman's agreement of 19 years didn't constitute an easement. So we don't know what to do now. We were thinking that maybe if the town were willing, the village were willing to put up a sign that says enter here, exit here, both of us would be able to use it. The beer distributor would enter through our property and go out through their own. All of our customers could be happy. We are willing to pay for a curb cut, but the village would have to give us permission for a curb cut. In the meantime, we either have to continue to pay, we've gone now close to $20,000 in legal fees and extortion. That's wonderful, and I realize it's wrong. But we don't know what to do. If the village has to help us somehow and either say perhaps put in a curb or pay for it so that people can go in and come out facing forward rather than back into Shore Road. But the easiest thing would really be say everybody comes in one way and goes out the other. And no one, and we both gain. And nobody has to spend any more money. It just doesn't seem right. Greed seems to have replaced honor. There used to be honor. And if our tenants cannot get cars in and out, we'll have 5 empty stores. The last thing we want are more stores empty in Manorhaven. So you don't have a tax base if you don't have stores, you have empty stores, it looks bad. We'd like to keep the tenants happy, but we can't do it. As it is, we renegotiate leases without putting in raises so that we can keep our tenants. If anybody can come up in the village with...
I know that you've been dealing with our former superintendent, Michael Bromsky. We have a new superintendent that should really separately discuss this, Mr. Amasana.
We had the Department of Public Works in today, and I think it was Bill Nemo. He was visibly shaken when he said no one should be exiting onto Shore Road backwards. So we don't know what to do because the county won't answer emails or won't say it's a village problem. So I will talk to whomever you say.
I should go to the building department.
And you're proposing that you enter on the north end and exit on the south?
Enter on the side closest to what was Nova's gas station, and come out on going towards the Pierce Street.
I suggest that you go to the superintendent, Mr. Amasana.
Is he here now?
He's not here this evening, but we'll be happy to sell him.
No, I'm sorry, you have forgotten the LoSAP resolutions.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You gotta get that.
Okay. Motion withdrawn.
Well, we can close the public comment.
We close, yeah, let's make a motion to close.
So,
Trustee Vina?
I'll
We're
vote-
closing
I'll
public
vote
hearing.
Aye.
Trustee Lucia? Aye. Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roschlaw?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
The resolutions are to amend the LoSAP insofar as benefits are concerned, to amend the LoSAP to create a sponsoring board, to authorize the village to negotiate an intermunicipal agreement, to authorize a referendum on both amendments to the LoSAP.
One first amendment to LoSAP, so there's a previous resolution in June, so that would serve to amend the June resolution to include the amount we posted. I think these resolutions should stay.
I'll second.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia? Aye. Trustee Gately?
Yeah,
I
I do need
think
to
Mr. Gately
recuse
needs to
myself.
recuse himself.
I'm a participant in the program. So I,
Just disclose it.
well, I'm also an officer in the fire department.
Okay. Trustee Van Roschlaw?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?
Aye. Motion to close.
Motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Clerk, please call the board.
Trustee Vina?
Aye.
Trustee Lucia? Aye. Trustee Gately?
Aye.
Trustee Van Roschlaw?
Aye.
Mayor Junta?